Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gad, your host. A viewer has contacted and requested a moon sign reading. That's what we're going to do now. And we're basing it, as you can see, off the chart to the left, which is the full moon coming up. I figured that would be the best time to do a moon reading since it's less than 12 days. And remember, the full moon is always, sometimes the power, the energy can be a week or more before and after. Full moons are about revelations, and sometimes new things happen on full moons or endings, or some things that started with the new moon kind of culminated or become more enlightened by the full moon. All right, now what I did, because I already did an audio for the whole full moon and all 12 signs, and that's usually for clients. So she'll have the link to it so she can hear everything I said about the chart on the left. She'll hear that on the link. What you guys get to hear is me taking that knowledge I already have and using it for her chart. And she'll be able to hear it herself too. All right. So right away, when we're talking about this full moon, we're talking about Virgo. First house, but the first house is still Aries as well. Now, Virgo is the home and rules the sixth house as well. So this first house will affect her first house a little bit. In fact, it's going to bring her home persona into the people, because Aquarius is the people, friends, association, groups, organizations. So this will be affecting her home as well as her Virgo. So really, we're looking on her chart, we're looking at the first house, the sixth house, and wherever Virgo is on her chart. So she also is connected to a foreign country, so that will play a role in everything I'm saying. Like again, wherever I say home, and let's just say I'm from the Bahamas, but I'm here in the USA East Coast. That would still be talking about Bahamas, home. And sometimes, let's just say my parents are from the Bahamas, but I was born here. It would still link back to home. So remember, whenever you're dealing with astrology and anything spiritual, you're dealing with energy. And what happens is people come with a technical mind. But you can't come with a technical mind with astrology because you're dealing with energy and spirit. Let me just prove my point. Let's just say I was a type of nerd. I'm a brainiac nerd. Now, in using energy, I could actually take over somebody's entire electrical system in their home. If I was that type of person, if I was a type of brainiac nerd, with just one little power box, one little switch, and I could start controlling everything. So that's why you have to understand how energy works, because energy is like spirit. And Doreen Virtue taught us that. If you don't know who Doreen Virtue is, she gave us the Archangel cards, as well as a whole lot of many other metaphysical, spiritual things that Doreen Virtue taught us. So once you understand how the spirit works, how the energy works, then you know how you can tap into things, telekinesis. Just like when you look at the X-Men and X-Women, that's what they do. They don't pick up a telephone, they don't pull out their cell phone, they use telekinesis. Just tap into energy. So alright, so the chart on the left will be the as above, so below. So everything below on Earth will actually correspond to everything going on with the chart to the left on that certain day or around it. And somebody might say, well, I don't live there, I live here. But it's the same moon. It's the same moon. Yeah, I think pretty much we'll be okay doing it this way because I'm actually connected to websites like astrovid.com, and they do my moon sign every day. I go there and get my reading every day. Now I'm here. I'm in the USA. I'm in New Jersey, but to get my moon sign, I actually go to Astrovid, and that would be considered Hindu or in India. Okay, so again, and this is the ascendant is Virgo or the rising sign as well. So this is going to be about health, but it's also about details. So you're really gonna have she's gonna really have to be dealing with details in her first house, sixth house, and where her Virgo is, and that's where her Juno is, and her vertex with Virgo. And that's kind of interesting because if you think about it, that's what she's doing now. Because she's looking into she's getting this chart done, her moon sign. She's also getting her twin flames chart done, and that's all this is details. And she's also getting her natal chart done. So you're looking into details because that's what Virgo's good for. Kind of like Virgo was one of the best investigators, I guess you could say, because they really know how to see details that nobody else can see. So in that way, they're really good with investigation. But I don't think any zodiac sign is better than Scorpio for investigation. But Virgo's way better with details. So it's almost like take one of the best investigators there is, and then you got Sherlock Holmes. And Sherlock Holmes was uh, unbelievably good with details. And other investigators might be very good too, but were they really as good as Sherlock Holmes? We don't know. But I'm going with Columbo. That's my favorite of all time, Lieutenant Columbo, the greatest investigative detective of all time. In fact, I call myself the Black Columbo. All right. So, first house going now. You see that 16 degrees? And then you see the 16 degrees again, both at the EP. So she may have a little, because 16 degrees is the Mars, it's the Tower card in the Tarot card, but it's Mars energy. So she may have a little things with, and remember, see, Aquarius is friends, association, and groups, but it can also be family. So now you see 16, now you see number 26. That means the word of God. So she may have a situation with people around the time of this full moon. And remember what I said. It could be 7 days before it, 7 days after. Sometimes longer than that. May even be going on now. But it's almost like there'll be friction because people are trying to push her based on their religious belief. That's the number 26. The word of God. So it could be somewhat of a bumpy road for her at that time. 16 is Mars energy, the Tower card. And then you see it's 26 degrees, 8. Now I'm at the chart on the right. I'm in the first house where it says EP, and then that next asteroid is Pallas. Pallas is 26 degrees, 8 minutes. Now 8 would be Scorpio energy, or the 8th house. And that can also be somewhat like Mars, because Mars used to rule Scorpio. They can both be combative. And 8 can also be the Strength card or the Justice card. Now, the good thing about this is Pallas can also be a soulmate. So while she's going through this, somebody, and remember, soulmate could really be anybody. Soulmate could be your sister. Soulmate could be anybody. So it doesn't mean, oh, soulmate, my lover. It doesn't. It could be. It could be. But soulmate could be any of your soul family or soul tribe. But she may have some support from that person. But there will be a little rough stuff going on. As far as when I say rough stuff, just maybe people being a little judgmental or a little cruel, a little gossipy. and that's based on the 16 degrees and the 8, and also the 16 degrees on this as well. And again, it's all about home. So when you're dealing with home, you could be dealing with family and things like that. Like in any country, like let's just say if it was like India, there might be some reserved, more traditional people in India, but then there might be more moderate people, and so sometimes they don't see eye to eye. Like the greatest bass player in the world right now is Mohini Day from India, and she's young. So a lot of people are mad at Mohini because first off, she's still in her 20s, best bass player in the world. She's still in her 20s, but she's already her own boss. Like nobody tells Mohini Day what to do but Mohini Day, and she works with some of the greatest musicians in the world. So a lot of people don't like that because it's from a traditional way. They're like, well, you should be home. You shouldn't be so on stage like that. You should be home. You should be more traditional, more reserved. So a lot of people don't like it that are her people. So that's what I mean. These things could happen. So that's when you need fortitude to really believe in yourself and not let the thoughts of other people, opinions of other people stop you. So, and then like I said, look at her 6th house. So it's family as well. Family, and it's her Chiron is retrograde too. That's the wounded healer. So somewhere in this house she's had a problem with healing. That's why I say this is working out just fine, because family is home. Home is family. So you can kind of see that might be going on around this full moon. Might be some family issues where, like I said, people are trying to judge you according to their standards or their belief system, which is 26 degrees, the word of God. And she may not want to fit in. Because, like I said, the only reason why Mohini Day was so successful, because her father is a famous bass player, so he was already in the entertainment world, and her mother is a famous singer. So they were already in the entertainment world. But if that had been a conservative family, and she would have been trying to play that bass, she probably would have had a resistance. Like, what are you doing? No, no time for that. No, do that later. She probably, but since her father was a bass player, he always had her playing the bass. He always had her sister playing the guitar. So her whole life, and she always had role models, and she always had some of the greatest musicians from India and all over the world associating with her father. So she was born to be one of the best of all time. So now we follow Virgo, but now this is why you don't want to be negative going through this time, because the universe is also saying that in your 8th house, which can be a soulmate house, and now just to let you know, you'll get a free report. Now you have to really learn what's in the 8th house, because the 8th house has so much in it. And I used to read all that, but none of that is going to apply to everybody. So each person, by listening to this, I always tell people to take notes. Listening to this, and then when you look at your 8th house, you'll know what areas apply to you and what don't. But it's definitely soulmate stuff. That vertex is called the vertex cross. Soulmate, notice how it has 6 degrees, and that's also the Lover's card. And then you have Juno. Now Juno retrograde is reversed. So why is Juno retrograde reversed? Because it's usually been some form of infidelity in this life or in a previous life. Now 9 degrees is someone, that's the Hermit card, the tarot card Hermit card. This is a person that goes out in public, but they have their own way of seeing things. And that's what I just got finished telling you. Because even when you go back to Mohini Day, she was very young, and she began to tell her family, I don't want to go to college right now. I want to tour and stuff like that. And she began to say, I'm making money. I really want to get my own stuff. And her family at first, especially her mother, was like, okay, you're a little too young. Like you're just a little too young to be telling us, your parents, that you're getting your own place and stuff like that. You're just a little too young. So by her father working with him they finally agreed. She's on planes. She's all over the world. But many times her mother went with her. Like she'd be in a foreign country playing music, and her mother would be there because she was like, "You're too young. Like you're only like 19 or 20. You're going all over the world and stuff like that." And then her father eventually said to her, "Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to do college the traditional way, but there is a way to do college. Some hours here, some hours there." So she agreed to it, and she, I guess, because she wanted to really be successful, she's a master of learning things quick, and she's just like a multitask master, and she's a master at learning things quickly and being successful and effective quickly. Like and she wants to be fashion, so now she's into fashion, she's into music. Like there's no stopping what that woman's gonna do. And remember, Virgo is about the sixth house. It's about the home, homeland security, young ones, small animals, health, healing, daily duties, daily activities, co-workers and subordinates. So during this time you may have a situation with a soulmate or your twin flame or your twin soul. Now your twin flame is your twin soul. Same soul, different body. Your soulmate is any member of your soul tribe or soul family, but you usually have some type of history with that person. Now, when you go to your second house, now just so you know what made this your first house, whenever you have EP to East Point, that's where the sun went over the ecliptic when you were born. The AC is the ascendant, which is also your rising sign, which is Virgo. That's where the sun went over the horizon when you were born. So whenever you have AC and EP in the same house, that is your first house. Doesn't matter if it says 12 or whatever. That's your first house. Your second house is Libra. And then you see that number 26. Now, once again, the second house is ruled by Taurus. Now, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So your second house is kind of going to be a romantic house because of that Venus energy. And Pallas is that asteroid that looks like a diamond. Again, 26 degrees. So this is based on what they believe God, like the word of God, but what they believe is God. And number 10 is Jupiter energy. It's the Wheel of Fortune card. And Pallas in the second house is good for money. But Libra makes you the type of person. Well, that's not your chart. But in the world, a lot of people will be associating their money with either a business partner, some type of agreement they made, a relationship partner, or even the law. And with 26 there is also connects to the word of God. Now, the third house is the house of communication, but when Scorpio is in the third house, well, let's go back to your chart. So that's Libra, that's the second house. So even your second house is going to be dealing with spirituality because Pisces is there, and that's your true north node at 5 degrees. So this is a spiritual house. So once again, this person is going to associate their money with spirituality, a belief system. And then Libra is your seventh house, and wherever Libra is. So let's look at your seventh house. And there you go. Your moon sign, Leo, at 16 degrees as well. And we'll learn more about this when we do her natal chart. We'll learn more about this, but right now this is particularly her moon sign. So now look how the moon is with Aquarius. So you can already see there is going to be somewhat of a belief system kind of focusing on you during this time. And remember, Aquarius and Leo don't get along. I mean, they let me do that differently. Aquarius and Leo, they oppose each other. That's better. So you're gonna have that under this moon, especially your moon sign is Leo, and probably even internally you're gonna be a little confused. You're gonna be like opposing yourself. And look how that both is 16 degrees. See, like I said, that's the Tower card. So you're gonna really have to work on being grounded during this full moon, because you're gonna kind of like oppose yourself, but you're also gonna have opposition with other Aquarius energy, or, and I already explained Aquarius. Because during that time, especially the community, now this community could be friends, association, groups, or family. Friends, associates, or groups, or organizations, and they're going to be trying to pull you into the collective at that time. But you're going to kind of want to do your own thing, especially with relationships, because that's your 7th house where your Leo is. So you're going to want to kind of do your own thing. You know, Leo. And Leo's very romantic. You want to be with your lover. You just want to do your own thing. You want to do something that makes you feel good and loving. But you're going to be fighting this pull to conform around this time period of the full moon. And the date's right there. And even your part of fortune is at 21 degrees, which can be Saturn energy or the World card. So whatever male is around you that kind of has a authoritative energy, they may also try to get you to, conform. And it's kind of funny because Saturn really doesn't get along with Aquarius anyway. So either that Saturn is going to help you oppose the push to conform, or it's going to try to work and try to make you conform. And again, each natal chart would be differently, but it's still based on relationship. And the Saturn energy is based on the number 21. That's the World card. That Saturn energy. And 13 is the Death card, Scorpio. So even 16 and 13, that's still going to be Mars and Scorpio energy. So it is going to be kind of tense. It's almost like when a family's trying to pick somebody for you. They say, well, you're going to marry one of us, but you already have an idea who you want to marry or what you want to do, and you're kind of like trying to go against it, oppose it. And that moon sign over here to the left is 22 degrees. 22 degrees is the twin flame number. And even if you look, it's 22, 25, which again, 25 is like what they call a law. Now, again, a law could be anything. It's just the way people see things. We're this type of people, and you should marry this type of people like us. And a person may not want to do that, or the person may already have feelings for somebody not. So it's almost like a push to make you conform. But your moon sign, your Leo, is trying to follow your heart, and you're trying to oppose it. Because like I've been telling people, that's why, like I said, make sure you click that link and listen to it. Because this full moon in August will be about conformity to the people and standing up to anybody. Like I've already told people, right? Soon you're going to see a major opposition at that border with those people. It's going to be a major opposition to help those people. And right after I made that full moon video, a video was brought to my attention because this is how God works. And that's already happened. That already happened in 1917 when they were doing the same thing to the Mexicans, but even worse on that border. And it was one girl that stood up, 17-year-old Mexican female. She stood up against them. And they started rioting because she wouldn't conform and stuff. It got crazy. But what a lot of people don't know is a lot of if you were to study planet Earth, a lot of civilization started in India, and people are connected. But unfortunately, we're in a matrix, and now people, just like you say, North Korea, South Korea, but it's all Korea. But that's what the devil does. He divides and conquers. So now you got people that are really the same people killing each other. All right. So now, like I said, still Libra represents the 7th house. So again, this could affect her because that's Leo in the 7th house and things like that. So things going on may or may not affect her financially. Because sometimes people say, well, if you don't conform to what we want you to do, we're not going to help you financially. Now in her 9th house is Libra again, Libra energy. But remember, the 9th house is about philosophy, belief systems, in-laws, higher courts. Long distance. So the 9th house could be, her 9th house could be about relationships. It could be about business partnerships, or it could be about some type of law. And as you see, Lilith is there. And we'll talk more about Lilith when we do her birth natal chart analysis. And so now when you go to the 7th house of the chart on the left, see, once again, you have Pisces there. So this is Lilith, and you got Neptune. So this is going to, like I said, it's going to be a highly spiritual time where people's belief system overrides anything else. So it's going to be tense. And as you see, the vertex cross on the chart to the left is once again in Pisces. So this is people trying to enforce laws or pass laws based on their religious belief. And so you see Pisces in the 7th house. So now you want to run to the 12th house because Pisces rules the 12th house. And then there you have it. there's Leo, which is your 7th house sign. And as you see, it's all about relationships for Leo. But some type of ending, like even past life. Like before I did this video, because my sun sign is Leo. So I looked at a couple of videos for Leo for August 2019. And that's what they're saying. Somebody from the past is coming back, or something's going to happen unexpectedly. So whenever you're in the 12th house, you're dealing with things from the past. You're dealing with karmic situations. And sometimes things can come out of nowhere. Because even when you have Mars and Leo, it could kind of be like that. And his Mars is conjunct Juno. And like I said, you still see that 26 degrees. So it's going to be a lot of things that are going to be being done around this time period based on somebody's like belief system. And you see a lot of 22s on this chart to the left because that's the twin flame number, 1111 or 22. So what's going on in this 12th house will be affecting your relationship as well. And that Juno represents a serious situation, somebody who wants to be in a serious relationship. But as you can see, again, it's 26 degrees again. And even number 9, again, is that Virgo energy that we talked about. It's called the Hermit card. So all this will be going on in your 7th house. And it just looks like you'll have opposition. And it looks like your opposition will be based on somebody else's belief system. Or they may just they may feel a person, isn't really one of us. Or they may feel, they may just feel, oh, I have a better way. That you're not really going to be interested because you want to do your own thing. You more or less want to enjoy the moment. But you're going to be going up against the source that wants you to conform. Now, when you go back to the moon sign, the chart on the left, which will be a full moon, see, that's the 6th house of service, and that's the people there. Now, that can be many, many different ways. Service is you can't limit it. But even like I said, when they stop people at the border and they start ordering them around, that's service as well. When they tell you to get down, and they throw you in a cell or whatever, that's still service. Because just to prove my point, if you refuse to do what they tell you to, they'll kill you. So it's still servitude, service. Just like if you had a slave or something. Or they say it's not a criminal, but it is a criminal when you're throwing somebody in jail. And that's why the congresswoman was saying you can't treat people like that are seeking asylum. They're not criminals, they're seeking asylum. And he said we're going to treat them however best we see fit to treat them. Alright, so again, as I was saying before, wherever you see Scorpio or Gemini on your chart, it's communication, but it can also be propaganda. It could also be gossip. Because at its lower frequency, Scorpio is very intense, very emotional, very manipulative, very power saturated. Power is obsessed. Because Scorpio deals with a lot of obsession. So this is a person who's going to use the 3rd house of Gemini to manipulate the people. And remember, Gemini is Mercury or Gemini is like the magician card. And even the Lover's card is Gemini, but the Lover's card is about doubt. A lot of people think the Lover's card is about love, but that just depends on the whole card spread. But usually the Lover card is really about doubt. People that are afraid to go forward and people that doubt that the love's really going to last. So Scorpio in the third house ruled by Gemini is going to be doing that. So wherever you see your third house, wherever you see Gemini, wherever you see Scorpio on your chart, you will be experiencing that during this time frame. And like I said, remember, I'm saying August 15, 7 days before, 7 days afterwards. Sometimes it's longer than that. So in your third house, Aries, a lot of aggression. So you have to really watch what you say. You have to really watch how you respond, because you're only going to make matters worse if you become aggressive because you feel people are trying to restrict your life or who you want to love, or you feel like people are saying things that are not true, so you feel like you have to aggressively pursue it. But from a person like me that's been on this planet a long time, I can tell you that's just a setup, because you really can't change a fool from what they're talking about usually. Or what happens is you get yourself in trouble, beating the person up, or you might say something back to a person in authority, and now you get yourself in more trouble. And then we see your Gemini in your fifth house ruled by Leo. But because your fifth house is ruled by Leo, that's still going to affect your seventh house where Leo is. But Gemini is all about small children, communication, publishing, real creative. Anything with Gemini or Leo is very creative. And Scorpio can be very creative as well in many different ways. So like I said, the gossip can affect you because the fifth house is the fun house. But if people are gossiping, or you're trying to date somebody and people are kind of opposing it or not feeling like you should date them, that could take away from your fun. And even Gemini means short, so that could be like fun, but it's short lived. Like say a Romeo or Juliet, or Maria and Tony. And why were they both killed? Because of gossip. Because Juliet's father didn't like Romeo, so it's gossip. He never gave the guy a chance, and that's what gossip is. And then Maria's brother just shot Tony down. Tony had nothing to do with the gangs. He had nothing to do with it, but the guy just felt like you're not seeing my daughter, you're not seeing my sister, and shot him down. So that's all what I'm talking about. Gossip, obsession, power struggles. And then Scorpio is here in the 10th house, so you have to be very careful, because I don't know if you're employed, but in your 10th house around that time, Pluto is there with Scorpio. You have an interesting 10th house, because you have both Pluto and Scorpio in your 10th house. So that could be a very powerful person, but you just have to be careful, because Scorpio and Pluto die and be reborn again. So sometimes that's a person that becomes very powerful, but then they end up getting fired or getting demoted or something like that. Now that medium coeli is also 22 degrees, is also it works with your true north node. So you have a very watery, probably in psychic, you're probably very psychic with Scorpio and Pisces, but your medium coeli always works with your true north node. So you have a very psychic thing. In fact, I could kind of tell you would be better off probably working for yourself with your psychic gifts, because if you work for somebody else, it's a good chance you may be powerful, but you'll be getting fired. And plus, remember, your 10th house is your career and reputation. And with that number 15, it means you're bound to something. Because remember, the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, That's the devil card, and the number 15 is the devil card, and that's about bondage. And then your Pluto is 15 degrees and 1 minute. But like I said, 1 is the magician card. So now this is a person that could be a witch, or they got supernatural powers and stuff. And even your medium Coeli MC is 22 degrees with the number 5. But the number 5 could be the Taurus card, which is the Hierophant. Again, so this would still be a high priest, a high priestess. The Hierophant. But for, like I said before, the 5 could also be Leo. Now the universe is saying in the 4th house of family, teenage to adult education, land, property, real estate, vehicles and travel, health and the heart, the mother who is the Imam Coeli. They're associating the 4th house with Sagittarius. So once again, this could be a traveling family. This is not a traditional family. They're traveling all over. But it is blessing that 4th house. But remember, Scorpio rules Sagittarius. And it's still about belief systems. It's still about spirituality. But it is almost like saying the foreign world is your family. And you may see that. Because like I said, you may actually see people stand up against what's going on at these borders and stuff. Because I'm predicting based on what I see on the chart to the left that it's gonna be intense. And like I said, it's not the first time. Because right after I did that video, I was minding my own business on YouTube, just going from video to video, whatever I do, and all of a sudden that other video came up, and it was talking about Mexicans at the border back in 1917. And then I watched the whole video. I was like, wow, it's just what I just said. Because that one girl, she was only 17, but she got sick of the bull, and she refused to follow orders. And then when she did it, the other women, not all of them, but some of the other women did it. Because when you're dealing with bullies, they're going to keep bullying you until you stand up for yourself. And believe me, I'm not saying I'm pro or against. That's not the point. But I'm saying I'm telling you what the universe is saying. So Jupiter and Sagittarius are going to be spreading a connection between families with people throughout the world. Because that's what Sagittarius represents. Long distance, things like that. But it also represents higher law. And believe me, anybody down at that border, you're not going to get thrown in a local law. You're not going to get thrown in a township. You're not going to get thrown in a state. You're going to get thrown like on a feds or higher. Feds are higher. And even like at one time the United Nations was trying to direct law, which they shouldn't have been able legally to do, but they were doing it. So now where your Sagittarius is, right in Aquarius. So it only agrees with what I'm saying. And then when you see Vesta, Vesta, that asteroid looks weighty. Main thing is she's all about devotion and service as well too. But wherever Vesta is on your chart, you have to be careful because that's where you're going to spend most of your energy, and it could burn you out. And we'll talk more about that when we do your natal chart. So remember, the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So, and Uranus is things that could happen suddenly, also opposing the authority. Now you have a very unique 12th house. It's a very karmic house, and we'll talk about that when we do your natal chart. Because you have both Saturn and Uranus. They don't like each other. They really oppose each other. And plus, you have Capricorn in your 12th house, so that's important because the Capricorn is really career and reputation. So and even Neptune. So you have a very unique 12th house, and then you have Venus there is 15 degrees, which was again is Capricorn Capricorn energy or bondage. So yeah, you have a very intense 12th house. And even your sun sign is Aquarius. So you will be feeling what's going on in the universe. Because believe me, that full moon, and it's going to be in Aquarius. So that's just interesting. Yeah, you're gonna be very confused. You have to be very careful. Because you got Leo moon sign, Aquarius sun sign, and those two oppose each other anyway. And then you got and then the chart on the left is sun sign Leo and moon sign Aquarius. You're going to be very acute. You got all kind of external, internal stuff going on, plus just a typical human emotions is going to be going on. And I would tell you, watch whatever decisions you make, and don't dive into stuff at this time, because you may do things that you're going to regret later. And be very careful that you don't let somebody take advantage of you. So as you can see right now, Capricorn is very karmic. So wherever you see Capricorn on your chart, it's very karmic. Karmic because of Saturn retrograde and Pluto retrograde. And like I said, Saturn retrograde is battling the authorities or some type of abuse situation. So you may get into it if your dad's still alive, who's ever in that position of authority. And it could be a woman, anybody with that male masculine authority. You may find yourself getting into it with that person around this time. And Pluto retrograde can mean something gets taken away. And even your Pluto is in your 10th house, which is ruled by Capricorn. So Capricorn is career and reputation. So because of what's on this chart to the left, something may get taken away. But you'll probably find yourself in some type of where you feel like somebody's trying to bully you or force you to do something. And remember, your chart is Saturn conjunct Neptune. Well, Neptune represents like spirituality, and this is what we're learning. This is all about people saying, well, this is what I believe. I believe God wants me, and they just gun ho because they believe it's their number 26, God's word, or Neptune or Pisces, God is speaking, or the 12th house. And those type of people are willing to do whatever because they really believe that. And that's why Neptune is called the deceiver. And then when you got Saturn co-signing, because like I said, that's when you see Saturn's like that leader that says, this is what we need to do. This is the only way we can get it done. I was praying last night, and while I was praying, God said to me, this is the best way to handle this situation. And then Capricorn represent like the people that just follow. They just follow orders. So you kind of got that going on in your 12th house. And I said we will be doing more of it. And right now, on that day, Capricorn is going to be in the 5th house. So again, that's going to affect your 5th house, where Gemini is, and we already said Gemini is already going to be in turmoil because of the universe sending down that vibe, which is really gossip. So 5th house is going to be in turmoil. And then where Leo is, because Leo rules the 5th house, so you got to be careful there. And then you got opposition coming from Aquarius and everything we said about that. So it's very karmic time for you. And then Capricorn being in the 12th house, which is very karmic. And we'll get more into that Venus and all that with your natal reading. But this is the time for you to be very, very careful. It's almost like you're going to be walking on mines, and any one of them can blow. And it's highly karmic. So if you do something, it's coming back quick. The karma is going to be kind coming back quickly. And even when you see your Venus, say, well, what about love? Well, even when you see Venus, it's 15 degrees, which can be bondage. And then that number 25 is almost like law. And your Saturn is 8, because 8 can be a karmic number too, because your Saturn is 8 degrees, 8 minutes. So like I said, that could be the 8th house with Scorpio. That could also be the strength card, which is Leo, or it could be the justice card, which is Libra. But like I said, because of the full moon, this is just a time where you don't rush into things, and you don't let other people upset you, or you don't let other people get under your skin. Because a lot of oppositions can mean a lot of contradictions, and it might be you, or it might be people around you. And like I said, gossip is also like when somebody tells you something to you, but then when you're around other people, they say something totally different, and you're like, "Wow, they didn't say that then. Why are they changing what they said?" Because it's that time of with the energy. But people can be like that anyway, even if it wasn't the energy of the universe. People can be kind of shady. You just have to be careful. See, remember, Neptune is a deceiver. So that's why we can't be too trusting. And everything we saw, it's really telling you to be on your toes. So when we do your natal chart, we'll do all of it, like even Mars and Taurus and all that with the money, because you will see, but you just don't want to mess the money up because of Mars. Because see, your 4th house is definitely about money, because you got Taurus there. Taurus rules the 2nd house, which is money, possessions, your value system, and then Jupiter's there, and Jupiter's also about the money. But even your Jupiter at 26 degrees, which is God's word, whatever, however that goes. And then number 5 again is Taurus energy, and Taurus energy, that's the hero font, that's the Pope card, that's a very spiritual card. So that's interesting. All right, now let's just do moon sign Leo. All right, now this will be Molly Hall from a website called liveabout.com. And Leo is a fixed sign, and of course a fire sign. But remember, even that, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and then it's your moon sign. So you will have that going on. You'll have like the masculinity of the sun, and then the feminism of the moon, And then the sun is more about external and ego. And then the moon is more about internal and feminine. So you might find yourself uh, struggling with those two energies. It's good in a way, but then it's not good. And like if you can find out how to balance it, because otherwise it'll be opposing, and it'll seem like, wow, she says one thing, then she changes it and stuff like that, and that could get to be confusing for people that don't understand it. So this is the moon sign Leo. So this person is naturally enthusiastic, prone to outbursts of spontaneous glee. This person can be generous, proud, loyal, and adventurer at heart. You put your whole heart into a relationship, and your sense of self is bound up with who you run with. And that's not always the best way to be, because you should never identify yourself with somebody else. And you have to remember, this is one of the reasons why people don't like me. But the fact of the matter is, people do come and go. Some people do make up and break up and make up. So you have to have an end to see. The one thing good about a Leo has a lot of self-confidence. So you should never give that up. Because I had to learn the hard way. Because see, when I was an old school Leo, when I was a traditional Leo, I was always worrying about making another person happy. But then I was miserable because the person wasn't worrying about making me happy. So I don't do that no more. So now I approach things totally different. From the door, we all got to see how is this going to work for both of us. Because I refuse to sit there and go out of my way to make somebody totally happy and they could care less. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. A lot of times you see that happen to women because they meet a guy and they try to be the perfect woman for him and he just shits all over them. So you got to realize that your sense of self should be bound up in who you are. Your sense of self should never be bound up in who another person is or a person with you and stuff like that. Because people come and people go. So a moon Leo can be a sunny, optimistic, and they could be a cheerleader type of person around their friends. Your instinct is to demand respect. So a Leo can have a moon sign Leo could have a terrible internal feeling situation if they feel like their confidence, if they feel like if they've been taken for granted or betrayed, because Leos hate disloyalty. So that's why I said sometimes a Leo has to find, you can't be so nice, you can't be so giving, you can't be so loving, because what happens is you expect it to be given back to you, and when it's not, now you feel horrible, you feel betrayed, and Leos can be drama queens. And when you're dealing with the moon, it's going to be even more emotional because it'll be affecting you emotionally and all kind of stuff. They said some Leos, well, they said moon sign Leos, when they really like somebody, they won't show it as much But what they try to do is test the person with types of demands or something like that, mainly for attention. And that could be anything. Just to give you one, it might be like a fast food restaurant. You two might work at a fast food restaurant, but you'll keep asking that person, like, hey, do that. Give me the broom or hand me that. But the way you're saying it is kind of like pushy, but you're trying to see how the person responds. But like I try to tell people, sometimes you have to be careful because you don't know what a person's been through, and then they may think you're pushy or mean, but actually what you're trying to do is find a place in that person's life, and you just don't know how to go about it. But sometimes you'd be better off just introducing yourself. So they say Leo is probably the most romantic of all the signs, and a Leo moon sign really wants love to fully blossom. But just be careful because sometimes your enthusiasm is what kills it. Believe it or not. And believe me, I know. Like you think, hey, how could you say that? I'm a great person. I really want to be a great boyfriend, great girlfriend. I want to be enthusiastic. I just want to. But you might, but the other person may not appreciate it. So you just have to be careful. That's why I try to tell people sometimes you just got to slow it down. Because by you being so hyper and so happy and so eager, you actually make it worse. Moon Leos can be highly creative at home or in the arts. So they say that a Moon Leo is the one that shows a sense of drama early on. Leo Moons have a lot of friends. Leo Moons want to follow their heart. So a Leo Moon wants to have a committed, stable relationship. Leo Moons can hold on to resentment like other fixed signs and will shun those who have shown disrespect. So they say Leo Moons can be drama kings or drama queens because they're emotionally expressive. And they love attention, they love the spotlight. So they say, but a Leo has to be careful because they can drain other people because they want too much attention, too much this or whatever. A Leo's theatrics can seem over the top, but they're really true friends. They can be natural leaders, and they have a self-confidence that radiates a message that life is not only good and abundant, but also fun. And they know how to inspire others with a power that can revive a lost dream or heal a broken heart. And they can be very generous. So they say they have pride though. They say that's why they won't show you. Like if they like you, they may not really tell you they like you or whatever, but they'll like try to get your attention, maybe by being a little pushy or something like that. Because they say Leo doesn't want to show too much vulnerability. So when they get wounded in love, it can take quite a while for the royal bearing to return. Like I said, my last official relationship was 1998. That was the only female that ever made me cry. That girl had me singing Jodeci right in front of her. 1998. I actually had tears coming out of my eyes singing Jodeci. I grew up on rap music. So that's the last, like what you would call a serious relationship. So yeah, it can take a while, depending. So it says your power time. Your power time is when the moon is in Leo and you're in your element. So that's the Leo moon. So for this, so again, you just saw the moon sign reading. We definitely went over everything, talked about everything. So for relationship at this time or whatever's going on, it could affect the relationship based on things I already brought out. But the fact of the matter is, it may also be people just talking trash about the person or the relationship, whoever it might be. You know, mom or dad or whoever, friends or whoever. So it really will be one of those times. So I pretty much covered everything. And like I tell people, sometimes you get hit with a lot of information, and sometimes you're like, "Oh, did he cover that?" So you have to slow it down. That's why we tell people to take notes, because then maybe you'll get some more up out of it. But I made sure I went over everything, and a lot of that other stuff is natal. That will be brought out on a natal chart, which I'm going to do with a natal reading, especially her 12th house. That's going to be brought out under the natal house. So that's it for now, and we have other orders coming from this person. Twin Flames natal eventually be up here. The natal charts. Twin Flames compatibility natal charts, and then her personal natal reading as well. All right, this is Get. I'm out.